are coming up on our first semifinal in battle at Bellagio 3 here in Las Vegas. Jörgen Kruth taking on Brecht Wallis. Brecht Wallis going at it toe and toe. It was Carter Williams with the early advantage, but then that happened. He dodged a punch. Brecht Wallis came up with the kick, and Williams was out in a heartbeat. In quarterfinal number 2, Ronnie Sefo taking on Jörgen the Viking Kruth. Kruth had the upper hand through most of the fights. In the end, it was Kruth in the third round who turned up the heat, and he ended up with a decisive win over Ronnie Sefo, earning his way into the semifinal. It'll be Jörgen Kruth taking on Brecht Wallis in our first semifinal here at Battle at Bellagio 3.
Coming to the blue corner, Jörgen the Viking Kruth. And now making his way to the red corner, Brecht Wallis.
Brecht Wallis has brought the lightning and thunder with him tonight and used it well in his knockout victory of Carter Williams in quarterfinal number 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 judges at ringside for this contest will be Rick Winter, Glenn Drawbridge, and Cecil Peoples, and when the bell rings, your referee in charge, Tony Weeks. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Bellagio of Las Vegas, this is the Aruza K1 Battle at Bellagio 3 first semifinal contest. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing camouflage, 6'2", 230 pounds. He comes to us from Sweden. Here is Jörgen the Viking Kruth. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black, 6'4", 255 pounds, fighting out of Belgium, Brecht Wallis.
Okay, gentlemen, you both received your instructions. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. Let's go.
Jörgen Kruth, Brecht Wallis. Jörgen Kruth, 6'2", 230, and he's the small one. There's Brecht Wallis, 6'4", 255. Wow. And it is Kruth in the camouflage on the left of your screen, and Wallis in the black trunks. 2 huge men who have worked their way into the semifinal in different fashions.
Both with knockout power, hands and feet.
It's a nice matchup between these 2 guys. Kruth seems to be what we've seen the quieter of the two fighters, but certainly not any less deadly.
No. We know what kind of power Brecht Wallis has. That roundhouse kick that took down Carter Williams was monstrous.
That was the kick of a career, too. Not that he's only going to do it once, but that's just one you train for. Those are the highlight films you hope you make if you're on the kicking end.
Just came up in the blind spot. Carter Williams didn't see it coming. But you never know when it's going to happen again. Jörgen Kruth has the same blind spot, just down and to the left from each side that every fighter has.
Each fighter with significant reach. They do not have to be in close to score.
Strange thing about these two fighters, Lon, though, in the quarterfinal matches both of them had, they both tended to be defensive type fighters, waiting for a chance to counter strike. Neither one was particularly aggressive. And that's probably why we've had about 3 techniques thrown and we're halfway through round 1. Wallis is so massive, you would think that if he just starts to use those big legs, he'll do some damage even if he hits Kruth in the arms.
And both these fighters have shown in past that they could do that in short fashion, too. There's no reason not to start peppering the legs unless they're, unless they've got a flaw when they kick, if they drop their gloves, or there's some reason that they're not going down low. It has such a huge effect, and particularly like that, with a big roundhouse kick. And it just takes a matter of a round or so to really start to pay dividends.
Both these guys are fast and powerful, but so far it's been token techniques in the first round. These are feeling out techniques to gauge the opponent's reaction. Nothing's really been thrown to do any damage.
Well, it's a wide open field tonight. Carter Williams had to come in as the favorite, but Brecht Wallis took him out in a stunning fashion in the 3rd round of their first bout tonight. So they go back to their respective corners with the information, and for round 2, I'm sure they'll pick up the pace just a little bit. These are 2 big guys, and they do use a lot of energy to move around. One of them has to go through and fight a 3rd fight tonight. They may not be used to that. They may, for survival instincts, have to pace themselves through this fight.
But neither one is sitting in the corner. They're both standing up. Neither one is breathing heavy. Not much action in the first round, but they're going to have to do something to decide a winner in this fight. Of course, neither one had too big of a test in their quarterfinal fights either. Brecht Wallis took a few shots from Carter Williams, but by and large escaped without too much punishment. And Ronnie Sifo just wasn't on his game tonight. He's a much better fighter than we saw, so Jörgen Kruth really suffered very little damage in his quarterfinal fight as well.
Round 2, and the winner of this fight will move in to our Battle at Bellagio 3 championship fight, and a chance to move to Tokyo with their skills in September. And now on the inside, Brecht Wallis starting to pummel away at Kruth's midsection. One of them has to open up. As you mentioned, they're 2 defensive fighters. Counter efforts, number 1 in their book. But they're going to have to come outside the box and start fighting.
Well, we don't know what Wallis's corner is yelling at him to do, but I have to think it's get more aggressive.
And he has been. He's been more aggressive. He's been throwing the punches, trying to land something up high. Not a lot of kicking. It's about his 2nd leg kick that he's thrown in the fight, and it's not with full force. trying to go up high, trying to score points. It's like neither one feels they can knock the other fighter out, or they're just looking for the big opening.
Yeah, crowd is a little impatient. You can hear them in the background. They want more action out of these two. These are two good fighters. Just not doing a whole lot right now.
Well, sometimes it takes another fighter to bring out the most in you. And as you mentioned, again, when you've got an offensive fighter, you will fight differently. Now we've got two defensive fighters.
So far, I'd have to say that Wallis has landed more techniques, although I don't think either fighter has suffered any damage in this bout.
No, I agree. And activity is what the judges look for.
Ten seconds left in the round. Again, roundhouse kick to the midsection, no real damage, but picked up some points.
Well, there's some leather landed to the head of Jörgen Kruth. Kruth showing some damage done in the previous fight. His left eye, you can't see right there, but left eye is swollen. Lost about half the vision area out of that left eye.
Wydad Wallis ahead by 1 point. Give him a half point for each of the first 2 rounds. Just on activity without really doing much damage. Now with a guy this big, of course, any technique he throws has some potential to do some damage, but it's mostly hit on the arms. A few have caught the midsection of Kruth. Punches to the head has mostly been jabs at the limit of extension. So at this point, Wallis by a point. Kruth could come back and he could win this with a big round in the third. You see a bruise underneath the eye. Looks like a little bit of an abrasion as well. Could have been from one of the kicks, could be from one of those right jabs that Wallis has been landing in there. A little dancing in the aisle.
Round 3 of this semifinal. Brecht Wallis in the black trunks. Jörgen Kruth with the camouflage trunks.
Now, I would think that Kruth's round would have told, his cornerman would have told him between rounds that he has nothing to lose by just going all out this round. Becoming an offensive fighter, even if he's not one, just bring the fight to Wallis. Just do something.
Nice combination, albeit soft, from Wallis.
Kruth's just got to be throwing stuff. One thing after another. If he gets hit hard, if he loses the round big, he's not going to lose anything he hasn't already lost. He's certainly behind on points.
Wallis into a pattern. 2 punches up top and then a kick.
Kruth is moving in. He closes the distance and he doesn't throw anything. Oh, now he comes back.
Kruth showing some signs of life.
Decent right hand.
Another one on the chin of Wallis.
Good 3-4 punch combination by Kruth. He's finally getting busy. He's got about 90 seconds to show the judges what he can do. He's got to win this fight by this round by at least a full point to be in this fight. Of course, one thing we haven't mentioned is both these guys have already fought a fight. That could have a lot to do with their energy level.
One minute left in this battle. And finally, a high kick from Jörgen Kruth.
Another one, a good hard one. Wallis picked it off. Kruth has really just got to go now. He's got to go all out. Try for a knockout.
His kicks have no steam on them. No snap.
Jörgen, you got to go everything now. You got to go for a knockout.
Wallis doing what he needs to do to fend Kruth off. At this point, you can't fault the fighter who's ahead for lack of activity. Right now, Wallis just trying to pepper away and keep Kruth at bay. Now here comes Kruth trying to finish this off, doing the only thing he can to win the fight.
Well, Kruth is, has Wallis on the run, but he doesn't have enough time left. He's got to be throwing one punch after another. Just burn it out for the last 10 seconds, and that's it.
And it's Kruth who has the last technique landed on Brecht Wallis after 3 rounds of the semifinal number 1 here. Battle at Bellagio 3. Lon McCarron along with Mike Sawyer. And now the decision will go into the hands of the judges. Wallis seemed to have the upper hand going into that 3rd round. Didn't do anything to lose the round. Jörgen Kruth a little more active late in the fight.
This is where Jörgen Kruth did get busy in that last round. Probably too little, too late. But he started out with a nice right hand, then goes back into his shell momentarily. Came back out again, landed 3 or 4 more good punches and kicks, but probably just not enough and not soon enough for Jörgen Kruth.
Well, there is that option that if the judges feel one fighter was not dominating enough, they could give them a 4th round. And I think we do have a decision. It's in the hands of ring announcer Michael Buffer, and let's hear what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the Bellagio, we go to the scorecards. Cecil Peoples, Glenn Drawbridge, both scored at 30-28. Rick Winter, 29.5 to 28. To the winner who now advances to the championship match, he is Brecht Wallis.
So Brecht Wallis doing just enough to work his way into the final matchup here at Battle of Bellagio 3. Defeating Jörgen Kruth in a unanimous decision here in semifinal number 1. Brecht Wallis from Belgium, our first finalist tonight.